Welcome to another in the top 10 series. This is going to be an exciting one for you. A little bland at times because it's about food intake and nutrition, but really important. Remember that at least 70% of your well-being is because of food intake. You are what you eat. And the rest, 30%, is about exercise, fitness, general well-being, physical capacities. So the two combined are really critical. So before I get into the heart of the matter, and I'm going to cover 5 points on approach for you to keep in mind, and then the other 5 key steps, I call them, in your food arrangement for golf, to be fit for golf, both before, during and after. I want to cover a few key facts. Just couple of things, tidbits that I picked up recently. Apparently the average round is about 230 minutes. Would you believe? I mean, when you follow some of the arguments on the PGA, they're talking about 6 hours or more. You know, hopefully us amateurs are not doing 6 hours. But 230 minutes is still a lot of exercise. Even though only about 30% of that is high intensity, when you're actually driving the ball, hitting the ball, and the rest, around 70%, is medium intensity. So part of the advice is related to the degree of intensity that we are talking about. We're not talking about high intensive exercise for that whole time. Another key fact is that apparently one loses about 1.2 kilograms of weight during a round. And that's part of, sustaining yourself, building your energy up for the game, and then, obviously building energy up again after the game for muscle recovery in particular. And then finally, what has become very clear, from dietitians, golf medical dietitians, is that good quality carbohydrates and water is absolutely critical to that process. So, without further ado, let's get into those 10 things. You ready for it? Let's do it. Let's start with the 5 key things to do with overall approach. First and foremost, you must adapt any advice you get from me or other sites to your personal circumstances. So take into account advice you've been given from your doctor, your dietitian, your guru, your clinical exercise specialist, whomever, because your personal circumstances, your medical, health, fitness, age, ailment circumstances are probably very different for every individual. So adapt. Second, keep it simple. So simple. It goes back to not having to count your calories. Just make sure that you are able to follow it almost intuitively. So the idea is not to say, well, I have to have this whole checklist of things. It's really to give you some samples of things to keep in mind. The third point that goes with that is really find a balance, an overall balance in your overall diet. General recommendations for general health well-being are fairly clear that you should try to have much higher proportion, 2/3 or more, of alkaline type foods. Carrots, one example of a highly alkaline food, versus acidic foods, jams, honey, beef. And I will, in the description, give a list of some highly acidic and highly alkaline foods so that you can kick off your thinking about that. But you can look up much more. And then think about 4 important broad categories. I'll pop some diagrams up here, some images up here of those categories. First one is fruits. So, fruits like apples, pear, tangerine, cherries. Sorry, I don't have a cherry here, on me at least, are very good for helping your immune system. And so, incorporate more of that throughout your process. Second, vegetables. Sorry, I have a lonely Popeye spinach leaf, just by way of illustration. But actually, I make juice every time before a golf game with spinach and carrots and melon and cucumber and coconut water for that matter. And have some vegetables as much as you can into your diet, because it helps you to reduce inflammation. And those of us who are senior golfers know that only too well. Then add some spices to your diet. Here's some illustrative garlic. I'm not suggesting you eat all this garlic and then kiss your wife goodbye or your husband goodbye when you're going off to golf. But, add, ginger, turmeric to your food mix, because it's a good antioxidant. And then, obviously, a broad range of other foods that are very good to help reduce pain. So, salmon, fish oils, whole wheat bread. So think about, again, a balance across these 4 groups. Combine that with the alkaline acidic point that I made before, and you will find an incredible turnaround, particularly for the golf game. And then, as you do that, so keeping it simple, finding that balance, build a routine around your golf game. So if it happens to be that you play a lot, like I do, first thing in the morning, then, obviously I'm not going to have a huge meal, but I'm going to figure out 2 or 3 things that are going to be important for that, for the energy need that I'll come on to in a moment. And I build a routine so that, in a sense, it becomes easy. It's not a chore any longer. I'm not having to count anything. I think, you want to sort of keep in mind also 4 sort of other points, that you need some lean proteins, because it's very important for muscle repair and recovery. You need, as I've mentioned, quality carbohydrates for fuel. You need some fruits and nuts because it gives you some missing vitamins you need. And you need to stay hydrated, because otherwise dehydration causes fatigue and a lack of focus. Well, we all probably experience that from time to time. Hey, that shot that goes off because you've just not focused on it. And that's to do with, it's contributed to by some dehydration. So that gets me on to the 5 critical steps, as I say. 5-step food intake process, if you like, for good golf and for good golf life. First, a pre-golf meal, a good pre-golf meal. If your tee time is 2 or 3 hours later, then have a good solid meal like an omelette and toast, baked beans on toast, muesli, yogurt, to get that initial energy build up, initial carbohydrate build up, good quality high carbohydrates. Then have a pre-golf snack. Now obviously if it's first thing in the morning, you probably want to combine those 2 before you go out. So a muffin and cheese, some almonds, some walnuts, both very good nut groups, and a piece of fruit. Then during the golf game, build some sort of routine around that. I do it every 4 to 5 holes, sometimes every 6 holes. I have an energy bar. I have some mixed nuts and a piece of fruit. You'll see amongst the pros, they're always having a banana on the 4th or 5th hole, and then on the 10th again, or some sort of combination of that. That's all to do with keeping your energy going and staying hydrated. And you see them drinking water all the time. You should really drink at least 1 liter of water, just pre-golf game, during the golf game, immediately after. If you can get into the habit of doing that, so I drink a couple of these full, on the ninth hole, fill it up again, and stay hydrated. Avoid eating certain things that I'll come back to. But during the game also, have a sandwich, ham and cheese, turkey and cheese. And then after the golf game, so your fourth step, so you've got pre-golf snack, during, and then after, the fourth point. So immediately after, have a sandwich of some sort, a lean burger, a smoothie. Avoid, that's your fifth critical point, avoid alcohol, avoid caffeine, too much caffeine, avoid chocolate, because it gives you those things give you a rush and then you have a sudden down. Alcohol creates dehydration. So try to cut those out. Cut out any sort of sodas, Coca-Colas and so forth, sugary drinks, have quality drinks, sparkling water if you so wish. Avoid hot dogs. Try to limit those certainly in your sort of pre, during and post-golf routine. What you do then afterwards, I leave up to you. But I believe that if you do all of that, I take some coconut water, which is really very healthy for you, and also gives you the extra energy, and has some taste besides the plain taste, obviously, of water. So think about these, those starting facts, those key principles, those broad food groups and requirements that you need, and then the 5-step process that is really becomes your routine. I guarantee you that if you do these things, you will feel much better, you will enjoy the game much better. I'm certainly living proof of that. It's extended my golf longevity. I'm not so fatigued. My injury has reduced significantly, but you've got to also combine it with the warm-ups and stretches and fitness. And Ollie's Golf Studio obviously is helping put out material and all of that, including drills to come. So watch out for more top 10s. Give me a thumbs up if you like what you heard. Subscribe, it's free. It helps me to put out more stuff. Comment, make suggestions. Continuously trying to look at improving the content, making things more relevant to you. Let's have a conversation. And let's enjoy golf. Let's do it.